Hello everyone, welcome to the news program. Today's topic of discussion is Lessors move to seize Go First aircraft. So the points of discussion will be, we will discuss about the news, what is the purpose of IDERA and how does it work, what has been the experience with IDERA in India, what is the procedure that the Indian aviation regulator follows when a lessor files to enforce an IDERA, and what sort of precedents are there in India regarding IDERAs. So first of all, let's discuss about the news. With the National Company Law Tribunal on Thursday reserving its order on low-cost airline Go First urgent plea for voluntary insolvency resolution proceedings and a moratorium on its obligations, aircraft lessors moved quickly and sought deregistration and repossession of 20 aircraft leased to the Wadia Group airline. They did so by filing applications with the Directorate General of Civil Aviation using their irrevocable deregistration and export request authorization. Timing is of the essence, as an admission of Go First plea under Section 10 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code would have led to an immediate and complete moratorium on recovery of assets leased to the debtor, that is Go First, making it extremely difficult for lessors to repossess their aircraft. Now let's understand what is the purpose of IDERA and how does it work. Irrevocable deregistration and export request authorization, or IDERA, empowers lessors to get their aircraft deregistered from the registry of the country where the lessee is based, repossess them and fly them out in cases like those of lease payment defaults. The Convention on International Interest in Mobile Equipment, commonly known as the Cape Town Convention, that is CTC, and the related 2001 Protocol on matters specific to aircraft equipment are key elements of the global aviation structure that aim to protect lessors' interests in case of defaults by the lessee. As per the CTC, the lessor can seek deregistration and export of aircraft without consent of the airline using IDERA. The airline has no power to revoke lessors' IDERA rights without the latter's consent. The quick deregistration process allows lessors to repossess planes and lease them to other operators, minimizing the losses they would have to incur if their planes got stuck in litigation. This makes lessors ready and willing to lease out aircraft in countries that follow the CTC protocols in letter and spirit. What has been the experience with IDERA in India? Although India ratified the CTC back in 2008, its incorporation in India's legal framework has been a work in progress. The last CTC-related amendments to India's aviation rules took place in 2018, simplifying deregistration and export of aircraft through IDERAs. However, experts see some provisions of the IBC pertaining to moratorium on assets in conflict with the CTC and IDERA provisions. This is the reason why lessors have vehemently opposed Go First NCLT plea, as its admission would put their aircraft under moratorium, placing significant legal hurdles for them in taking back their planes and leasing them to some other operator. Now let's discuss what is the procedure that the Indian aviation regulator follows when a lessor files to enforce an IDERA. To begin with, the lessor, IDERA holder or its representative must file an online application with the DGCA seeking to enforce an IDERA with regard to a specific aircraft. Usually, separate applications are filed for each aircraft that the lessor wants to repossess after deregistration. The DGCA immediately posts on its website the application filed by the IDERA holder. The application includes requisite details including the operator's airline's name, Indian registration of the aircraft, and details of the lessor. The date of the application is considered the date of declared default. The regulator also immediately notifies all airport operators in India about the IDERA filing. The DGCA then moves to deregister the aircraft within 5 working days from the date of declared default and informs airport operators about the date of deregistration. Meanwhile, airport operators are required to compute outstanding dues of the aircraft for 3 months prior to the date of declared default. Earlier dues, if any, are not included in the calculation. Airport operators then raise bills within the 5-day window and send those to the lessor with a copy marked to DGCA. Other government entities, intergovernmental organizations, and private providers of public services in India can also raise bills in the 5-day window in case they have outstanding receivables related to the aircraft and inform the regulator about it. The DGCA then intimates the lessor about any such pending payment. A goods and service tax or GST certificate is also sought from the lessee to check for pending GST related dues. The lessor then proceeds to clear all such dues, and those collecting dues issue certificates of payments to it and send an electronic copy to the DGCA. The lessor then submits all the payment certificates to the regulator along with the request to export or fly out the aircraft from India. After this, the DGCA issues all necessary permissions to export the aircraft. At this stage, the lessor sends a copy of the DGCA's permission to the operator of the airport where the plane is parked, along with the intended date to fly the plane out of India. The airport operator within 1 working day raises a bill for any dues for the period between the date of declared default and the date of the export of aircraft. Once the lessor clears these dues, the aircraft is allowed to fly out with the DGCA's permission. Now, what sort of precedents are there in India regarding IDERAs? The bankruptcy of Jet Airways was the first big test pertaining to IDERAs for India. Most of the 100+ planes in Jet's fleet were on lease, and lessors were able to repossess their planes after deregistration in an efficient, regulated and structured manner. Except for a few aircraft for which deregistration and export was stuck due to court orders or other complex legal hurdles, the process was smooth and swift, something unprecedented in the context of India's aviation sector. Over the past couple of years, lessors have repossessed through the IDERA route a few aircraft that were being operated by no-frills carrier SpiceJet. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.